Okay, let's talk about just very quickly repression and mass, and we're going to do a process on this. If you have problems in your life, you are unable to fulfill your essential needs. It's very logical, very simple. The severity of your symptoms is going to depend upon the degree that you are unable to fulfill your needs. And those symptoms are going to vary person to person. Of course, one person is going to become very antisocial, destructive. Next person may become depressed, and somebody else responds with a tremendous amount of stress. Another person gets an ulcer or eczema. We all respond differently to being unable to fulfill our needs. But no matter how severe your symptoms, the psychologist and the psychiatrist will tell you, the symptoms will disappear as soon as you are able to fulfill your needs. Now all of us have the same psychological and physiological needs. Every single one of us. We just vary in our ability to fulfill these needs. I'm sure most of you realize this, but psychiatry is based upon two psychological needs. One is the need to love and be loved. Two is the need to feel worthwhile about ourselves and feel worthwhile to other people. The need to love and be loved. You must have at least one person in your life who loves you and you love them. You care about them. If you do not have this one essential person, you are going to have mental problems. It's assured. And so I always feel so sorry when I realize that there is someone who literally has no one in their lives to love and care about, and the same in reverse. This is an essential need. Without it, you will have problems. So if there is anyone, I hope there's no one in this room that has no one to love and to love them. But if you don't, this is what you must work on more than anything else. You must be loving. You must find other people to interact with you in your life. Now the need to feel worthwhile to ourselves and to others. This means that you're going to have to maintain a satisfactory level of behavior, standard of behavior. You've got to keep that level of self-esteem up here. And it also means that you have to correct yourself when you're wrong. And if you do not correct yourself when you are wrong, you're going to suffer, just as if you had no one in your life to love you and for you to love. If you think you can behave badly and get by with it, you are wrong. I could talk about that from the basis of karma. I could talk about it from the level of cause and effect and programming, but let's just say this is what the psychiatrist and the psychologist know. This is what the practice of psychiatry is based upon. You must correct yourself when your behavior is wrong. And so there are new psychotherapies that I give a lot of respect for. Morita therapy is a new therapy out of Japan. It's not all that new, but it's new to most Americans, and it's a Zen-based psychotherapy. And it's very close to Dr. Glasser, the LA psychiatrist, to his reality therapy. And in both cases, what the therapy advises is that if your behavior is not working, the therapist, or in this case, I'm just saying to you, change your behavior. If you're under therapy, the therapist is going to attempt you to change your behavior, to to realize that you are behaving in a way that's generating disharmony in your life. So we're talking about reason. Let's behave in a way that generates harmony. And I think what is most important about this is what they're proving is that you don't have to change how you feel about something to affect it if you are willing to change what you're doing. I hope you all got that. That's real important. You don't have to change how you feel about something in your life to affect it if you're willing to change what you're doing. Because what will happen is that your change in behavior will generate a change in attitude. And it will become real for you. So, those of you in the group that I'm talking to, you know your behavior isn't working. Let's start changing it. Change begins with action. Karma, again, the word karma means action. Wisdom erases karma. How are you going to erase the negative karma you're experiencing, the negative programming, the problems in your life? You've got to act. But people don't act. They find security in their insecurity. They don't act. You've got to act. If you realize, and most every hand went up in this room yesterday when we talked about the need of change. Did you come up with something you need to change? Well, if you were sincere about that, when you go out those doors, if you really want wisdom to erase your karma, you've got to act. And one of the primary ways that I would encourage you to act would be to find out who you are beneath the masks that you wear. We all wear masks. And the only reason for the mask is fear. So we need to find out who is this true self behind the mask. You can't change what you don't recognize. So that's what I want to play with a little this morning. I'd like you to find out a little more about who you are behind the mask. Most of you don't even realize that you're wearing a mask. But the moment you are acting in a way you don't really want to act, you're wearing a mask. The minute you're smiling when you don't want to smile, you're wearing a mask. When you do what you don't want to do, you're wearing a mask. And that's repression. And repression's a problem that we all share. But I want us to look beneath the mask, and I want to do it for 3 reasons. There's 3 real important reasons to explore masks. The first reason is to learn why you wear it, because there will always be a fear behind the mask. What's the fear behind the mask? And then number 2 is to find out the price that you're paying for wearing the mask. And there's always, always a price. Repression, you will pay for repression. One person will go home and take it out on their mate. Somebody else goes home and kicks the dog over their frustration. Somebody else gets the ulcer or the eczema. Somebody else responds in another way. They go into stress or depression or whatever. But you can't, repression, you can't expect to be able to push something back and not have it affect you. It will affect you. The third reason to look at the mask is to find out if it's valid anymore. And I'd say over half the time, my experience based on working with thousands of people, over half the time, the mask is no longer valid. You're wearing it out of habit. You don't need to wear it. Okay, let's talk about some real common masks, and then I'd like you to share some of yours. I'll see the guy who will be wearing, he switches masks. For the boss, he wears the sincere and dependable mask. The minute he goes out to lunch at the kicky lunch spot down the street, he starts wearing the suave and sophisticated mask for the ladies. See, anytime you're wearing a mask, remember, is to avoid loss. Try to get what you want by being who you aren't and to avoid loss. There's a mask of indifference. It's very common. We all put that one on sometimes. I don't care that he left me. I don't care that we didn't get the contract. I don't care if I live alone. It's okay. There's a dumb mask. The ladies seem to put this one on more than the guys. It seems to usually be worn to avoid getting a point. I find that they're seldom dumb, but if they didn't play dumb, they'd have to acknowledge something they don't want to acknowledge. There's a workaholic mask, and there's so many different reasons for wearing that mask. Sometimes it's to avoid intimacy, to avoid social commitments or something at home. Sometimes people will create financial need just as an excuse to work night and day. There's a poor little me mask. This is the mask of all the problem-oriented people. They gives them something to talk about, number one. And of course, if you're poor little me, then people pretend to feel sorry for you, and you get this attention. A lot of you are going. A mask that I tend to resist, I've got to learn something about, I guess, is the funny mask, the gregarious mask, the ho-ho-ho, good time Charlie type of guy. I have resisted them, so guess what comes at me. And these people are always trying to avoid something. It could be a simple issue, it could be a confrontation, it could be an attempt to deflect real, sincere contact or intimacy, or it could be a way to cover up insecurity. There's a lot of reasons to wear the good time Charlie mask. So, let's see, the metaphysical people will tend all too often to wear the extra nice mask. I'm nice to everybody. I love everybody. Right? All over the room, I'm getting. Altruistic people. You know this is the way you're supposed to be. Now, again, there's so many reasons to wear that particular mask. And it would serve you if you are one of those who is just going, to try to find that reason. Oftentimes, you're just simply afraid that your people won't like you unless you're this way to them. They won't like the person I really am, so I'll pretend to be somebody I'm not. Then they'll like that pretend person. Or maybe you're worried that the other people are going to feel uncomfortable. And if they're uncomfortable, then you're certainly going to be uncomfortable, and you don't want them to be uncomfortable, so you'll be somebody that will make them feel more comfortable with, right? Or metaphysical people, too, will oftentimes, they'll tend to wear that mask, and it's a little power number. They get to be needed this way. I'm always there when she needs me. Your ego gets pumped. What I found, though, with this mask, the empathetic personality that wears this mask, is that they cannot be with people for very long. They have to hide away and recuperate, because it takes a lot of energy to wear this mask. So you have to get off and to be able to hide and to recuperate, to find the strength to put the mask back on again. And metaphysical counselors often. I know a couple people, one woman in particular, very sensitive, who always has to be nice to everyone. And she ended up spending the better part of a year in a dark room because of the fact that she just went so far, so deep over the edge, trying to be everything to everyone that came to her. What kind of a mask do you wear? What's your primary mask? Who's willing to share just a little bit? I want to get a reaction. There's thousands of masks. Back here, would you stand up, please? Just give it to me real quick. What's your mask, if you have a basic mask that stands out above all others?
I got a question first.
Okay, put that right on your chin. Okay.
I have trouble because people want me to be a different way. You know, I come across, I'm very blunt. I say what I feel.
You're direct and honest?
I'm direct and honest.
Well, that's great. There's no need to wear a mask then, is there? I mean, there's no energy lost in that.
No, there's not. But
now they hate you for being who you are.
Right. So, where am I? I'm just kind of
Well,
like
I'll tell you
stuck
where you
here.
are. It's fun. You know, usually I get into this a little bit later, but what I find that if you really are concerned about self-actualization and incorporating these ideas into your life, you'll find you have fewer and fewer friends.
Why is that?
It's really true. And for this reason alone, a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to do that. But the friends that you have will be true friends. You can be yourself 100% around them. You don't have to wear a mask. There's no loss of energy, so you like to see them. You're not being drained when you see them. But the vast majority of the world cannot relate to self-actualization. They cannot relate to these ideas. If you're not willing to play the game and be the person they want you to be, then they're not going to have anything to do with you. Now, what does that mean? That means that unless you are willing to be a puppet and respond to their manipulation, they're not going to like you. Now, what does that say to you about your own self-esteem and your own life? Reaction to people. Are you willing, do you need somebody in your life that won't be your friend unless they can manipulate you to be who they want you to be? I don't think so. I think you're right where you need to be. I know I'm the same way. Boy, some people just run from me. They call up the house, they hope to hell they don't get me.
It's like when my husband used to go to work.
I hope I get Tara, she'll be nicer to me.
My husband used to go to work, and when I went, he used to want me to come pick up his checks at work. Well, it's like the guys would run the other way when they saw me coming. You know, how do you deal with her? You know, they used to think.
How do you deal with honesty and directness? My God, our society can't cope with this.
I had so many problems trying to tell my husband what's their problem. I don't understand. They have trouble with me being honest.
Yeah, they will. They will.
And I don't know. I just have to step. I have trouble with people. After a while, you have all this negativity coming at you, and you're going,
well, don't let it affect you.
So you just have to stop and take a deep breath and
as
ignore
the lady
it.
over here just said, don't give it any energy.
Right.
Just
exactly.
Boom. Right here. I want to know about your mask, though. We got ahead of ourselves on that. What mask do you wear?
I wasn't aware that I wore a mask until yesterday. My mask was being the perfect metaphysical minister.
The perfect metaphysical?
Oh, yeah. That one just about blew me out totally. A year ago, we took over a metaphysical church when the pastor left, and it was a church I was ordained in. And in 6 months, I dealt with more. I never knew I was capable of this anger because all my life I stuffed. I wanted to be the perfect everything, the perfect.
Right.
And now, I got very angry at God. I got angry at mankind. I dealt with anger that I never knew existed within me.
Yes.
And I was very hurt and angry. And what happened is a year has passed since then, and I did what you said. I hid out. I did no more readings. I sent people who wanted counseling to other ministers, other psychics, because I said, I don't want to deal with you assholes anymore. I've had it. And that was my attitude for a year. And what has happened is, around March, I said, okay, I'm not mad at God anymore. I'm ready to continue. Now, you put me where you want me.
Yes.
And I am back where I started 10 years ago. I'm waitressing in a bowling alley. I am having more fun than I've ever had in my life. I'm making more money than I've ever made waitressing. And when people ask me at the bowling alley, oh, I heard you're a minister, where's your church? And I said, this is it, pal. You're in it. This is wherever I am is where my church is.
Rock and roll. I love that story.
Yeah. And it's like, I also want to thank you for making these seminars affordable for us who don't have Mercedes.
Thank you for coming. That's nice. Thank you. I love that story. Right here. Would you stand, please?
Dick, I'm one of those that you've been avoiding, okay? I wear the funny type mask, and it covers up shyness. And I've been shy all my life, but nobody knows that. And I think a lot of, I'm one of those that everybody goes, you shy? Nah, come on. But I think through my mask, I've actually changed myself, and I'm not that shy anymore.
Good. Now, what about the gregarious, though? Do you still have to have a funny remark for everything that everybody says?
Well, not everything, but every other thing.
Can't wait to run into you more after the session. My issue is trying to watch a television show or a movie with the gregarious dude who has to inject his own comments in regard to every third sentence that's on the film or on the TV set.
Hi, good morning. I do organization development, which involves helping people in major organizations work well together. And one of the problems that I have with my job is that I see organizations, especially the major corporations, endorsing workaholism. And I see that as a very unhealthy mask that an organization is forcing on employees, and I see many unhealthy employees being workaholics. I'm not a workaholic myself, so it's a little difficult for me also to work in these major corporations and say, well, I have another life, goodbye, I'm leaving now, and do that gracefully and diplomatically and still keep a job. Do you have any words of wisdom or any advice on that score?
No, we all have free choice to work at that job or not work at that job, and I think there are jobs that require almost the dedication of your life, basically. The good people in this profession, it becomes their whole life. And so you must realize that. Do you want to compete? Do you want to be in this profession? Then you better be prepared to play the game to that degree. Hopefully it's being played by people who love it so much that it's not work. And I don't think that's workaholism at that point. If it's just pure play, absolute love. I know a lot of people, my own background at one point was advertising. I'd worked many years in that, and I'm very good at that. Won hundreds of awards for it. And that's one that you more or less dedicate your life to. And those who don't really can't compete with you unless you do. So, but it's up to you. It's up to everybody. A lot of you in here right now, you have the idea that you have to wear a mask or your job is going to be adversely affected, correct? How many people, you know, God, if I don't keep smiling when the parents of those teachers, you know, when the parents come in, why, they're going to fire me. How many really, come on, that was a real weak show of hands. You have to wear a mask for your job. Okay, then it's real important for you to look at the price that you're paying for that and to make that choice. To make that choice. So you're an activist to stop corporations from turning people into alcohol or workaholics. That's an interesting activist.
A quiet activist. I can't exactly, based on business necessities, run around through major corporations going, it's time for everyone to go home now, you have other lives.
Lots of luck. Boy, I mean, you could spend all of your life on one little division of IBM, I have a funny feeling, and never make a dent.
I guess I question corporations perceiving to tap into people's passions when I see the stress that results out of that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mean, every company, you know, we're a small company. We got less than 30 employees, so, but I've found that there are certain practices that work well for me. I like to hire what the LA Times called the cowboys. The cowboys are the entrepreneurial types that really don't work very well within a structure. They love what they do so much, it's their whole life, but then I get them in there and I give them a lot of freedom. And so we end up with this kind of crazy, creative environment of a lot of type of people who are involved with the music and the art and the creativity and the writing and all. But it works for them. It works. They might decide they're going to sit there and paint their toenails one day, but they might work 18 hours a day for 3 weeks in a row when it's needed, you know. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Back here.
Well, now that you've named all the masks, I realize I have a hell of a lot of masks that I wear.
Oh, I just begun
Yeah. I hate to think
talk
of how
about
many.
the masks.
But the main one is the Good Luck Charlie, I guess. And it's so true when you say a burnout, because I find myself, after a few months of the mask, a total burnout where I make myself so ill that I have to stay in bed. I don't have to smile at anyone. I don't have to talk to anyone. And I can stay in that room until I'm feeling better, and I can come out and put that smile back on and carry on. And it, you know, now that I realize
and if you think that's the full effect, if you think that's the full price, you're wrong. There's a lot more price to pay. I mean, that's just the effect of the stress and all the rest of the buildup there.
it's almost scary because I put myself, you know, bedridden almost for days, and I think, God, I'm not that sick, but I sure as hell can't get out of this bed and smile at anyone.
Got to recoup. Okay, what's the worst that would happen if you were to just be yourself? Is the person you are awful? I mean, just be straight, admit it.
Well, I'm starting to wonder who the hell the person I am is. You know?
Well, no, really. I mean, are you just one of those terrible, yucky people underneath?
I doubt it. I hope not.
I doubt it too. I really do. So, what the mask, of course, is to cover up who you really are,
sure
to be who they want you to be. So, what would the worst be that would happen if you were this person you really are?
Probably everybody would have a new friend, you know, meet someone new. Hello, here's Lynn again.
Yeah.
know.
I mean, what would the worst be that would happen? Decide, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to smile when I don't feel like smiling.
They'd probably ask me what's wrong.
They might ask for a while,
Yeah,
but that would pass. That'd pass very quickly.
yeah.
Yeah. And they might say, well, she used to be nice and she turned into a grump. But that's what it is.
Here comes the bitch.
I doubt it. I just doubt it. I can't picture you being a bitch underneath that.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, at least you brought it out.
Think about it. Next time you start acting the way you don't want to act and smile when you don't want to smile, think about it. Again, it has to be a goal. We don't even realize we're wearing them. Let's do this. Let's do a process rather than going through the whole room and having everybody talk about their own mask. Let's do it, and this is going to put you directly in touch with some of this.
All right. You are now perfectly comfortable, and it's time to begin to watch the screen. Soften your focus and keep your eyes on the center of the screen. Breathe deeply and relax completely. Breathe deeply and relax completely. Take a deep breath in and hold it for as long as you comfortably can. And then let the breath slowly out through slightly parted lips. And when you think the breath is all the way out, contract your stomach muscles and push it even further out and further out. Then repeat the process. And as you do, you feel yourself just begin to let go and relax, relax, relax. You're breathing deeply and relaxing completely and allowing the quietness of spirit to come in. Slow down your thoughts. When external thoughts come into your mind, simply brush them aside and return your attention to the screen and the sound of my voice. As you breathe deeply and relax completely. Breathing deeply and relaxing completely. So relaxed and so at ease, so relaxed and so at ease. And in just a moment, I'm going to begin to relax your body one part at a time. And as I do, you can accelerate the process by mentally sending relaxing signals to that part of your body. So let's begin now with the toes of your feet. And the relaxing power is coming into the toes of both of your feet at the same time. It's moving right on down into the ball, into your arches, into your heels, and right on up to your ankle. Completely relaxed, completely relaxed. And now feel the relaxing power moving up your legs to the knees. Relaxing all the muscles as it goes, and moving on up your legs now to your thighs and to your hips, permeating every cell and every atom. And the relaxing power now comes into the fingers of both of your hands. Feel your hands relaxing and feel the relaxing power move on up into your forearm, relaxing your forearm. And on up now into your upper arms, just completely relaxing your upper arm. And your fingers and hands and forearms and upper arms. And now, just completely relax. And the relaxing power now moves on down into the base of your spine. Feel the warmth in the base of your spine and feel it begin to move very slowly up your spine, up your spine, up your spine, and into the back of your neck and shoulder muscle. And the back of your neck and shoulder muscles are now loose and limp, loose and limp, just completely relaxed. And the relaxing power now moves on up the back of your neck and into your scalp, relaxing your scalp. Feel your scalp relaxing. And it's now draining down into your facial muscle. Your eyes are relaxed and tired and heavy, but you keep them open and focus softly upon the screen. Your facial muscles are relaxing. Your jaw is relaxed. Allow a little space between your teeth, and your throat is relaxed. Your entire body is now relaxed all over in every way, and all tension is gone from your body and mind. And as you continue to watch the screen, I want you to imagine yourself going into the screen, into the screen, into the screen. As you go down, 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 deeper and deeper into a relaxing level of mind, deeper and deeper as I count backwards from 7 to 1, letting go of the physical and going down, down, down into receptive mental realms. Number 7. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 6. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 5. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 4. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 3. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 2. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 1. And you are now very open and receptive. Your body is going to sleep, but your mind is awake and alert on all levels. We are removing the filters that normally separate you from subconscious and superconscious awareness. And you were deep. But let's go down even deeper. Number 7. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 6. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 5. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 4. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 3. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 2. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 1. And you are now very, very deep. And I want to give you a self-releasing suggestion. If at any time you desire to awaken to full beta consciousness, simply count yourself up from 1 to 5 and say the words, wide awake. You're in control and can awaken yourself at any time. And now, as new impressions appear, continue to focus softly upon the center of the screen and take a deep, deep breath. And as you let it out slowly, imagine your body relaxing as it's never relaxed before. And you are now relaxed and at ease and centered upon achieving your goals. You are at peace and feel in balance and in harmony. A quietness of spirit permeates your body and mind, and you are open to awareness that will assist you to rise above repression and the fears in your life. Now, there are 3 ways to generate change in a human being. First is to add something, such as people, things, environment, programming, awareness, or challenge. Second is to subtract something, such as people, things, environment, and so on. And third is to get the individual to be himself. Now, this is transcendental change. The individual removes his fear pretenses, drops his masks, and expands himself. Now, even if you don't like what you find out, accepting what is in yourself is the beginning of transformation. You can always change what isn't working, but you can't change what you don't recognize. Now, most of us don't even realize we're wearing masks that keep us from being who we really are. So let's begin to explore the masks that you wear. There are 3 primary reasons to examine your masks. The first reason is to learn why you wear it. There will always be a fear behind the mask. The second reason is to become aware of the price you pay for wearing the mask. There will always be a price. And third is to see if the reason you're wearing the mask is still valid. Often it isn't, but you continue to wear the mask out of habit. So let's begin by exploring what you consider to be your primary mask. When do you most repress who you really are? When is it that you don't do what you really want to do? You don't say what you really want to say. Now take a few moments to think of your primary mask. All right. Now, behind every mask is a fear. What is the fear that keeps you from expressing who you really are? And now, what is the price you pay for wearing the mask? There's always a price. You either take out your repressed emotions on others, or you experience stress, or you get ulcers, or a skin rash, or any of hundreds of other effects. So now, be open to all input in the form of thoughts, feelings, or visualizations. What is the price you pay for wearing the mask? All right. Now, and this is an important question, is the reason you wear this mask still valid? Is it really valid? And what is the worst that would happen if you were to remove the mask and be who you really are? All right. Now, let's explore another mask. This time, a mask that relates to your primary relationship or to your relationship with others who are important to you. Take a moment and think about a primary mask. Behind all repression, all masks, there is a fear. In this case, what is the fear that keeps you from being who you really are? And now, what is the price you pay for wearing the mask? Okay. Now, is the reason you wear this mask still valid? What is the worst that would happen if you were to remove the mask and be who you really are?
All right. Now, let's explore another mask. This time, a mask that relates to your career. Take a few moments and think about an important career mask. All right. What is the fear behind this mask? And what is the price you pay for wearing this mask? Is the mask still valid? What is the worst that would happen if you were to remove the mask and be who you really are? All right. Are there any additional masks that you feel would be of value for you to explore? Social masks, sexual masks, spiritual masks, or masks you feel are forced upon you by the demands of society? Take a few moments to meditate upon these masks, the fears behind them, the price of wearing them, and explore what would happen if you were to remove them once and for all.
And I hope that you now have more understanding of repression and masks. It's important to remember that nothing about us can be changed until it's first accepted. You created your masks to keep out the pain, but the masks have also kept you from experiencing the full potential of joy. You have the power and ability to create your own reality, to change what isn't working and to manifest what you desire. And on the count of 5, you will awaken remembering everything you just experienced. Your head will be clear, and you'll be thinking and acting with calm self-assurance, feeling glad to be alive. And you will feel at peace with yourself, the world, and everyone in it. Number 1, coming on up now, and you sense an expanding spiritual light within. Number 2, coming on up, and you're at peace with all life. Number 3, coming on up, and you sense an inner balance and harmony. Number 4, recall the situation in the room. And number 5, wide awake, open your eyes and feel good. Number 5, wide awake.
Okay. How'd you do? Repression is something that we all share. I always like to use the example of a rubber life raft. You can hold it under the water, you can stand on it, and you can exert the effort to hold it down, but eventually you're going to get tired and it's going to surface again. It doesn't go away. It lies deep within us waiting for an opportunity to express itself. So we need to deal with it. From the perspective of long-term harm, repression is a lot worse than indulgence. It actually is. You'll eventually get tired of what you're indulging in, but the repression will just stay there, bubbling and boiling underneath. William Blake said, "The road to excess leads to the palace of wisdom." A lot of people in this country don't understand the philosophy of Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, who's the sex guru. He encourages you to have sex until it falls off. I mean, that's just... He knows that his followers are going to move past their sexual obsessions a lot faster through indulgence than they ever will through repression. So go ahead, have at it, folks. Of course, the other side of that coin would be the way the churches have always condemned it, tried to force you to repress it. And of course, you do not repress it, especially in the context of many lifetimes. If you study any of the old esoteric side of metaphysics or the old religions such as Wicca, they'll always teach that what you repress, you're going to have to experience. It's going to generate a vibrational energy within you that you will at some time have to experience. If not this lifetime, the next lifetime. And I think that's where a lot of the deviates come from. A lot of the real problems come from. It's just repress until it bubbles and boils into something that ugly that has to be expressed. Okay, masks. You looked at a lot of your masks. How many people in here, I'd like to get a little idea on this. How many of you, first of all, this is not about a mask directly, but how many of you, if you think about it in your life, you put other people's interests before your own? Other people's self-interest before your own. Put your hands up. If you do, please put your hands way up. Leave them up for a moment, and the people in the front, look around. See how many people do this. A lot of people put other people's interests before their own. This is what we call the motherfucker mask. I have in my notes the fool yourself mask, but I can't censor myself that much for video. You always operate in your own self-interest all the time. You've never done anything for anyone else. And this is real important that we clarify this. Well, maybe you have. I'm sorry. I'm assuming. I wish I could be a better actor. I could do this better. I want to know what you do, where you put other people's self-interest first. Who's willing to share? Come on. Every hand in the room was up. Right here. Okay, here's someone.
I really feel that I do for my daughter. Now, I don't like to go fishing. I hate it, but she does. So I go with her.
So you go with your daughter. Okay, see, we do have people in here who are putting other people's interests before their own. Right here. What do you do for other people? Stand up.
I listen to everyone's problems. Every one of my friends call me every day about their boyfriends, about the work.
Oh, see, we
about
have
the
another person
husbands.
here that puts other people before themselves. Right here. Who do you put before yourself?
When I'm tired and I'm ready to be very happy, my husband's coming home and I'll say, well, let's go out to dinner. When he walks in and looks distressed and just looks so fatigued, I just forget all about that and I say, okay, sit down, and I go ahead and make dinner.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have another person right here. Back here? Right here. What do you do to put other people's self-interest before your own?
I'm a single parent, and since my son was 6 weeks old, he is now 23. I got into a habit of putting him first for the first 18 years of his life.
Yep.
I drove him to Little League, the bowling alley, fishing. I did everything without even thinking about it twice. And now it's very difficult to wean him. I'm weaned, I think.
I think.
But it's hard.
Yeah.
When I'm coming home from work, 2 jobs, and he says, "What's for dinner?" And I get upset.
Yeah.
But it's still hard.
Good. Good. Thank you. Okay, well now, we've heard a lot of people here talk about a lot of things that they do for other people. They put the other people's self-interest first. And it's all bullshit. You've never done anything for anyone else. Not one of those things that I heard was valid. Not one. You see, no matter what it is, you're doing it for you. Now, the problem with this is, if you really think you're doing it for someone else, then you're expecting them to appreciate it, number one, and right there we're in trouble. Because other people don't usually appreciate it, and so you start to get kind of bitter about it. You do it for you. In your case, talking about your son, 18 years, your son. You have a self-image of what a good mother does, right? Of course you do. And what are you going to feel about yourself if you don't live up to your own self-image? Yeah. No, you don't want to live with that. And so you do it for you. Now, it looks like you're doing it for the kid, but you're not. You're not. An example I'll often use is, let's say that you're going to go shopping this next Saturday with your girlfriend. You've been saving the money for quite a while. You're going to go shopping. You're looking forward to it. And your husband comes home on Friday night and he says, "Honey, I really need you to help me this weekend on getting all these accounts settled. You're real good at it. Would you work with me on Saturday?" And you say, "Well, yeah, okay, sure, you bet." And you give up doing what you wanted to do. Now, I contend you did that for you, period. Now, why? Again, it may be self-image. That could be one reason. You have an image of what a good wife does. A good wife supports her husband. That might be the reason. Or it could be that you often are in need of your husband's assistance, and you don't want him to be able to say, "Well, hell no, you didn't help me when I needed to help you, or needed you to help me." And so it's for that kind of a reason. Or maybe you're going to feel that he's going to feel a lot better about the expenditure of all that money for a new wardrobe if you help him out this weekend. I mean, somehow it's for you. Somehow it's for you. You know, you run into the house to save your kid and the house is burning and all. That's for you. You love that kid. You can't stand the idea of not having that child. Even the stranger that you dive into the ocean to save, I contend, is for you. You don't want to have to live with, maybe you were raised on John Wayne movies, you know, and you have a self-image that I'm this type of guy. I wouldn't let somebody drown when I could save him. You don't want to have to live with the idea that you didn't try to save him. No matter what we do, it's for us. And the thing is, everybody's selfish. I guess that's what it amounts to. It's like saying gravity exists. Everybody is selfish. But people don't resist gravity. They resist selfish. And I think maybe they resist selfish because they have this idea that selfish is piggy. And there is that type of selfishness, that greedy, piggy selfishness. That's what I would label as irrational selfishness. But rational selfishness says you give to get and you live up to your own self-image. The problem with thinking you're doing it for other people, and I'm not saying to stop doing things for other people. For heaven's sake, I hope everyone in here triples the amount that you do for your fellow man. I'm saying stop fooling yourself about why you do it. Because when you do something and you think that you're doing it for them, then you're expecting thanks. You're expecting appreciation. You're going to get bitter if they don't. Don't do that. Don't put yourself in that position. Hey, I don't care if he thanks me. It doesn't matter at all. I did it for me. I needed to do it. Period. I get people saying to me all the time things like, "Oh God, Richard, it's so neat that you do all this wonderful work for mankind. You communicate these great ideas to everyone and spending your life dedicating, helping people along the path." I do what I do for me. I need to express these ideas. I have expressed them when there's been 3 or 4 people in the audience, or when there's been 1,500 people in the audience, or whether it's going out to 12 million people on television. That's what I need to do. This is what's important to me. This is my dharma, my dharmic destiny, as we talked about yesterday. This is my part of my own soul goal. It's for me. If I expect people to appreciate it, well, I've got a problem. Mahatma Gandhi, great martyr, right? Sure. The way Gandhi attained his happiness was to make millions of people happy. Albert Schweitzer, God, it would be hard to find more of a humanitarian, wouldn't it, in our time? But Schweitzer said, I do this for me. This is what I get off on. I don't think he used those terms, but... All men throughout history have had to choose between the available alternatives of the time. Going back to Gandhi, he just chose the alternative that worked for him at that time. It's all on a scale. Maybe you get off on making the people in your family happy, or in your bowling group happy, or whatever. Gandhi needed to make millions of people happy. But he's doing it for him. I'm doing it for me, and you're doing it for you. Period. Most martyrs and do-gooders, you will find, if you look at history and study history, are the most selfish people of all, and they have incredibly huge, insatiable egos. Goes with the territory. I don't think you have to dig very deep to find that out. So, help out your fellow man. Do the things that you can do, but stop fooling yourself about why you do it. Stop wearing the masks if you can stop wearing them. I'm not advocating that everyone in here goes out and throws away all of your masks, but again, you need it as a goal. If you decide it isn't working for you, if you decide, well, I'm going to lose my job if I have to do this, but the cost is so high, maybe it's time to start looking for something that you'd enjoy doing a little more, that doesn't take this kind of a toll. Let's talk a little bit here about buttons before lunch. I got involved in metaphysical things. I think I came in the back door to all of this, probably a very different way of becoming involved by comparison to most of you in this room, because I was involved in Kempo Karate in a little dojo in Tempe, Arizona, down in the river bottom. And my instructor was, he was part of a kill team, actually. He was part of 12 men the U.S. government trained to kill instinctively. Wonderful way to spend tax dollars, is to teach people to kill instinctively. If somebody moves up on your left, you kill him. anyway, most of the people, they found they couldn't even bring him back into society. But his background was that of a sensei, martial arts instructor, and he integrated with society very well. And I liked the guy. I was hanging out at the time a lot around Waylon Jennings nightclub down in right across the street, which was JD's, and his reaction was, "My God, if you're going to hang around places like that, I've got to train you specifically to deal with people that don't feel pain for 20 seconds and how to disable them for life in moments and all this awful stuff that I wouldn't really have young people learn, I don't think." But at the same time, when he's talking about how to kill, maim, break bones, and destroy people, he'd turn around and then he'd be talking about this beautiful Zen. All of these ideas that I was really attracted to. And it was the beginning of my exploring. It opened the door to explore with metaphysical ideas, and I think it always helped to keep the grounding, the Zen grounding that has served me personally very well and has been a big part of my communications. Because the communications are a combination of martial arts and Bushido and Zen and metaphysics, esoteric metaphysics, quite a bit of it. Bushido is an important part. It's been a seminar. We're not conducting it right now, but it's been a seminar that I guess had my heart more than any other. And some of the things that we're doing this weekend are right out of that training, out of that seminar. And one of the main teachings of Bushido is that the strong are patient. The strong are patient. And patience means holding back in your instant, your immediate inclination to react. You know, somebody says something to us and we just instantly want to react. Defend ourselves, become aggressive, whatever. But the martial arts idea is to keep your mind like calm water at all times. And this has been a goal for me. I'm not there yet. But it is a continuing goal to be able to keep my mind at all times like calm water. Now, you're taught this in martial arts so that you can accurately reflect an opponent within striking range. The idea is the moment you get angry, you've lost. And that does tend to pretty much be true. The minute you lose it, become upset, especially if you're sparring, you're going to lose. So you keep your mind like calm water, you accurately reflect within your field of vision, everyone within striking range. But we don't have to be talking in terms of physically striking. We can talk in terms of mentally and the value of the goal. I'm not talking about repressing. I am talking about holding back in our immediate inclination to react. You think about the Eastern stereotypes of how they watch the miniseries like Shogun, which really pretty accurately depicts the way, more of an Eastern way of responding to circumstances. The idea of the guy does not react immediately. He thinks about it. He calculates. Then he reacts. So instead of reacting from anger, he's reacting from calculation. And he's going to react serving himself much, much better. Talk about winning the game. You lose it when you react instantly, except in rare situations where you're physical danger, probably. Think about it. What is going to serve you best in regard to your reactions? And this goes back, we were talking a little bit yesterday about the old Kung Fu show. You know, just and don't react unless you have to. And then if you have to, think it out and do it so effectively you minimize the involvement. And you assure winning, ideally. So let's talk here about the idea of how this relates to buttons. We've already touched upon the idea that your mind operates like a biocomputer. It does. That's the way it works. Very, very much like a computer. We all have computer buttons built in. And when you push these buttons, somebody pushes these buttons, you respond like a robot. And you demonstrate your machineness. We all do. Robot has no choice in the way it acts. Think about it. It's wired. It has wiring and circuits that are set up so that when the button is pushed, it reacts according to programming. And so in many ways, many, many ways, you are a fucking robot. You see, now I pushed your button. A lot of people in this room, I just pushed your button right there. The minute I said fuck, your button got pushed. You go on tilt. We talked a little bit about tilt yesterday. That's when you stop functioning rationally. You get stuck. You don't hear anything else that's said from that point on. Babbler, this little guy who lives in your head, he said fuck. My God, this is a spiritual seminar. I didn't come here to hear this. I had expectations about the way he is. How can Tara be married to a garbage mouth that says fuck? Now, if that's you, you're being a robot. You're being a robot. Fuck's just a four-letter word. It has no power other than what you give it. The old idea you've heard 100 times. It isn't what somebody says to you that affects you. It's only what you think about what they say that's affecting you. How many in here, now be straight on this, are offended by the word fuck? Put your hands up. Come on, all the way up if you're offended by it. It's quite a few people. It's quite a few people, a couple dozen people. How many of you use it as part of your everyday language? Uh-oh. That's the majority of the room. You see, we get back to viewpoint at that, don't we? What one person sees as bad, the other person sees as fine, and so on. And of course, isn't it interesting, though, those of you that put up your hand first, how the law of resistance works? Every time you turn around, somebody is saying, aren't they? Of course, there's millions of buttons out there. I'm just choosing this one for a moment. I want to desensitize all of you who have a problem with fuck. I'm going to desensitize you right now. Because I just found this the other day again. I'd lost this for a long time. This is from Bhagwan again. Bhagwan's a wild man. Whether you agree with him or disagree with him, you know, you have to look at what his written communications are wonderful. Anyway, he says, one of the most interesting words in the English language today is the word fuck. It's a magical word. Just by its sound, it can describe pain, pleasure, hate, and love. In language, it falls into many grammatical categories. It can be used as a verb, both transitive, as John fucked Mary, and intransitive, as Mary was fucked by John. And as a noun, Mary's a fine fuck. It can be used as an adjective, Mary is fucking beautiful. As you can see, there are not many words with the versatility of fuck. Besides the sexual meaning, there's also the following uses. Fraud. I got fucked at the used car lot. Ignorance. Fucked if I know. Trouble. I guess I'm fucked now. Aggression. Fuck you. Displeasure. What the fuck is going on here? Difficulty. I can't understand this fucking job. Incompetence. He's a fuck off. Suspicion. Where the fuck are you going? Enjoyment. I had a fucking good time. Request. Get the fuck out of here. Hostility. I'm going to knock your fucking head off. Greeting. How the fuck are you? Apathy. Who gives a fuck? Innovation. Get a bigger fucking hammer. Surprise. Fuck, you scared the shit out of me. Anxiety. Today is really fucked. And Bhagwan goes on here now to say, he says, it's very healthy too. If every morning you do as I do, and you do as part of transcendental meditation, just when you get up, first thing, repeat this mantra. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, 5 times. It clears the throat. He says, that's how I keep my throat clear. I should incorporate, I always say, unfuck you is the way I express it. Now everybody's going to come up to me and they're going to want a copy of this, but you have to go buy the Book of Books, Volume 6, if you want this. Okay, now you're desensitized, right? You resisted it, and look what happened. let's do a process in which we go down and we look for some of your buttons. Good way to end the morning, okay?
All right. You are now perfectly comfortable, and it's time to begin to watch the screen. Soften your focus and keep your eyes on the center of the screen. Breathe deeply and relax completely. Breathe deeply and relax completely. Take a deep breath in and hold it for as long as you comfortably can. And then let the breath slowly out through slightly parted lips. And when you think the breath is all the way out, contract your stomach muscles and push it even further out and further out. Then repeat the process. And as you do, you feel yourself just begin to let go and relax, relax, relax. You're breathing deeply and relaxing completely and allowing the quietness of spirit to come in. Slow down your thoughts. When external thoughts come into your mind, simply brush them aside and return your attention to the screen and the sound of my voice. As you breathe deeply and relax completely. Breathing deeply and relaxing completely. So relaxed and so at ease, so relaxed and so at ease. And in just a moment, I'm going to begin to relax your body one part at a time. And as I do, you can accelerate the process by mentally sending relaxing signals to that part of your body. So let's begin now with the toes of your feet. And the relaxing power is coming into the toes of both of your feet at the same time. It's moving right on down into the ball, into your arches, into your heels, and right on up to your ankle. Completely relaxed. Completely relaxed. And now feel the relaxing power moving up your legs to the knees. Relaxing all the muscles as it goes. And moving on up your legs now to your thighs and to your hips. Permeating every cell and every atom. And the relaxing power now comes into the fingers of both of your hands. Feel your hands relaxing. And feel the relaxing power move on up into your forearm. Relaxing your forearm. And on up now into your upper arms, just completely relaxing your upper arms. And your fingers and hands and forearms and upper arms. And now, just completely relax. And the relaxing power now moves on down into the base of your spine. Feel the warmth in the base of your spine and feel it begin to move very slowly, your spine, up your spine, up your spine, and into the back of your neck and shoulder muscle. And the back of your neck and shoulder muscles are now loose and limp, loose and limp, just completely relaxed. And the relaxing power now moves on up the back of your neck and into your scalp, relaxing your scalp. Feel your scalp relaxing. And it's now draining down into your facial muscle. Your eyes are relaxed and tired and heavy, but you keep them open and focus softly upon the screen. Your facial muscles are relaxing. Your jaw is relaxed. Allow a little space between your teeth, and your throat is relaxed. Your entire body is now relaxed all over in every way, and all tension is gone from your body and mind. And as you continue to watch the screen, I want you to imagine yourself going into the screen, into the screen, into the screen. As you go down, 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 deeper and deeper into a relaxing level of mind, deeper and deeper as I count backwards from 7 to 1, letting go of the physical and going down, down, down into receptive mental realms. Number 7. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 6. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 5. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 4. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 3. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 2. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 1. And you are now very open and receptive. Your body is going to sleep, but your mind is awake and alert on all levels. We are removing the filters that normally separate you from subconscious and superconscious awareness. And you are deep. But let's go down even deeper. Number 7. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 6. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 5. deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 4, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 3, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 2, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 1. And you are now very, very deep. And I want to give you a self-releasing suggestion. If at any time you desire to awaken to full beta consciousness, simply count yourself up from 1 to 5 and say the words, wide awake. You're in control and can awaken yourself at any time. And now, as new impressions appear, continue to focus softly upon the center of the screen and take a deep, deep breath. And as you let it out slowly, imagine your body relaxing as it's never relaxed before. And you are now relaxed and at ease and centered upon achieving your goals. You are at peace and feel in balance and in harmony. A quietness of spirit permeates your body and mind, and it's time to explore some of your past programming. We all have buttons connected to our computer-like subconscious mind. And when these buttons are pushed, we demonstrate our machineness by reacting with extreme emotions, often anger, repression, or fear. So, in this process, we're going to explore what pushes your reaction buttons. What causes you to react? Now, the idea is to be straight with yourself and trust the very first thought that comes into your mind. Okay, here's the first question. What pushes your button, causing you to become angry quickly? In your personal life, what really pushes your button and causes you to react with anger, repression, or fear? What is the first occupational or career button that comes to mind? When it gets pushed, you become angry, you repress, or you experience fear. What pushes your sexual buttons? What pushes your embarrassment buttons?
What public, national, or international situations push your buttons, causing you to be angry, to repress, or to experience fear? What does the person closest to you do to push your buttons? How does what other people think push your buttons? Let me repeat that because it's important. How does what other people think push your buttons? All right. Now, for a few moments, meditate upon how what other people think about you is manipulating you. What your mate thinks, your friends, your co-workers, your children, maybe even your parents. How are they pushing your buttons, causing you to be the way they want you to be? All right. Can you get that you've been programmed, brainwashed from birth to worry about what other people think? You grew up worrying about what others think. Your parents worried about what other people thought. But what others think may not be in your best interest. Maybe what you think is what's most important. In most areas of life, there is no such thing as moral and immoral, right and wrong, ethical and unethical. A group of people agree upon terminology, and maybe they agree to call a particular action or practice wrong. But that doesn't make it wrong. That doesn't change what it actually is. Right, wrong, moral, immoral, ethical, and unethical are all concepts which in fact exist only by agreement of a group of people. That does not make it right or wrong. Only what we call right or wrong. It doesn't change what it actually is. In living in a society, we must be willing to accept the consequences of our actions in regard to the laws of society. Yet most of the conflicts with the opinions of other people are not legal issues. It may be ill-advised for you to allow what other people think to push your reaction buttons and repress who you really are. And another thing, The other people in your life quickly learn about your buttons and they use them to manipulate you, and that reduces your personal power. I'd like you to meditate upon all of this and to consider any changes you want to make in your life. All right. You no longer have to be a robot that reacts to past programming that doesn't serve you. You have the power and ability to create your own reality, to change what isn't working and to manifest what you desire. And on the count of 5, you will awaken remembering everything you just experienced. Your head will be clear and you'll be thinking and acting with calm self-assurance, feeling glad to be alive. And you will feel at peace with yourself, the world, and everyone in it. Number 1, you're coming on up now and you sense an expanding spiritual light within. Number 2, coming on up and at peace with all life. Number 3, coming on up now and you sense an internal balance and harmony. Number 4, recall the situation in the room. And number 5, wide awake, wide awake. Open your eyes and feel good. Number 5, wide awake. The thing I'd like to share, I guess, at this point is, let's go back to the idea when your buttons are pushed. It's unrealistic to think that you're going to resolve all of this right away. It's not going to happen. But I think you can become aware of the buttons, and you can begin to stop instantly reacting. That's the first giant step. That's the beginning of detached mind. Now, I've conditioned myself to, when I bring my index finger and thumb together in this position, the mudra position, breathe deeply, it's a holdback. In fact, people sometimes around me who know that I've conditioned myself this way, when things start to hit the fan, they look and see if Richard's doing this. But it works for me to slow down, not to instantly react. Just breathe deep and think about what's going to best serve you, what's going to best serve everyone involved. Because unless it's a win-win situation, it isn't going to work out anyway. Even for you in the long haul, you're going to create negativity, you're going to create karma. So that's something that takes time. It takes desire. Do you want to desensitize yourself? Is it valuable for you to be able to go ahead and slow down the reaction? And if so, give it some priority. Program that. Include that as part of a daily meditation or self-hypnosis session. Anybody have anything come up for them that they would like to talk about here? Right over here. Would you stand, please?
I have a question in regards to the mask, the subpersonality, and the last exercise that we just did. every time the same item came up, which was controller, I have that mask, my button that is to be pushed. If
When
someone
somebody
wants
tries to control you.
No, I like control.
Oh, okay.
And that's my mask that I put on. And if someone tries to take that control, that is my button, my sub-personality that I don't really care for, but obviously is strong,
Yes.
is the controlling position. Now that I have that in 3 instances, does that mean that that's working triply hard on me?
I would guess so. I think what you need to work on is abundantly clear. Yeah. It's funny, once you open the door to this thinking, to human potential, self-actualized thinking, you never close it again. You always process yourself for the rest of your life. And the minute you think you're such a smartass as to have it learned, guess what? And I think I am the biggest live and let live person in the world. Whatever anybody else does is what they do, and that's great. That's fine for them, as long as they're not hurting other human beings. Leave everybody alone. Let them do what they want to do. But I notice that I have just this incredible reaction the minute somebody is not approving of the way I am and they're bringing that into my life. The minute they're attempting to control me, and I go after them. And this is a pattern that I've really recognized lately. I had a visit from my mother for a while. And I set it into motion. And then I've had a father-in-law who's been staying with us because he's sick. And I had an editor here a while back who was going to fix me all the time. And I had to start looking at all these, who are the people that I attempt to shake their tree all the time. And it's always these people who are not approving of the way I am, and they're going to fix me up, and they're going to tell me what to do or try to force me to do what they want me to do. And it's resistance. And so there's just been too much of it lately. I've got to deal with this. I've got to work on this. I've got to move past it and allow this to flow through me without affecting me. And I realized how effectively I've eliminated almost all of this from my life by creating barriers, protective barriers around me to make sure it didn't come in. But there are some people you might have to work with closely. Of course, if I'm the one who's hiring them, they aren't there long. But if it's a situation where I have to work with them closely, or it's in family, I realize I need to work on this very, very, very much. And if I don't handle it, it's just going to get me one way or another.